Hello everyone. In the last session we talked about how to collect customer requirement, what are different sources of collecting customer requirements, and these requirements are called as the voice of customer. And we saw that there are various methods and sources of collecting customer requirements. We also saw that a lot of time customer requirements may not be very clear to us, so we need to convert them into the measurable requirements. In this session we'll focus little more on how to measure the customer's requirement. Though we talked about some of these things in previous session, that with an example of converting customer's requirement, but then here we'll see some more examples about converting the customer's expectation into measurable requirements. As you can see on the screen, where you see a table, we're talking about the voice of a customer. So if a customer is saying that actual customer statements and comments on the perception of a product or service, so that's what the customer is talking about. So when customer is saying what do they think about a particular product or a service, what is the customer issue here? In the slide you will see it says the objective expectation that the customer has of a product or a service. What is that we are going to measure here? What we are measuring is, it's a metric that is reflecting the specific customer expectation regarding a product or a service. So this is an example. When customer provides a feedback on a survey, or when customer is giving you the answer on certain questions that we may have in place, we need to find the right metric to understand the customer expectation. For example, if the voice of the customer is, again on the screen you will see, this lawn mower is way too hard to start. That's a typical way of saying that this bikes or this car takes a lot of time to start, this is very noisy. But this is the voice of customer. So what is the customer issue here? Customer issue in this case of lawn mower, that the customer wants the lawn mower to start painlessly and easily. So what is the metric we are trying to understand here? We're trying to understand that the mower starts within 2 pulls on the cord. That's what the person wants. That within 2 pulls, when you pull the cord, it should be able to start. So that's the expectation here. So we have a metric that we are trying to understand here. That is just one of the ways to understand the customer's requirement and convert into a detailed measurable requirement that you saw in the previous example when we wanted to purchase the high quality products and we divided into 3 different parameters. Now we'll try to understand it little further. So if you see on the screen, we have written the voice of the customer which talks about, let's say the voice of the customer is, I want this product delivered faster. So what is the CTQ we are looking here? We are looking at the speed or the delivery. The next in line it says the multiplex was not completely occupied. Let's say when we go to a movie and we saw most of the seats are empty. So what do we call it? Maybe the occupancy rate was maybe was very less, or we can also say the cost of the tickets was so high that the hall was not completely occupied. Another VOC example can be, we need faster answers to our queries. So what are we looking at? The response rate, again the speed delivery. Not a lot of people are visiting the mall, which means the less which means the footfall is very less in the mall. Insurance document was incorrectly filled. What are we talking here? We're talking about the number of errors. We're talking about the quality. Somebody says, I want the pizza to be delivered hot. What are we talking about? The quality of or the temperature of the pizza here. Someone says, last year we spent a lot of money to fix products in warranty. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the cost. We're also talking about the quality issues or a lot of defects in the product. So and if you look at the next item in the Excel sheet on the screen, I'm saying loan application forms submitted by loan officers have too many errors. Sometimes it happens that you submit the loan application, there are too many follow-ups and they ask you to provide document multiple times. So basically what you're talking about, the quality of this entire process is not very good. So these are some of the examples that help us to understand that voice of customer leads to what? Critical to quality measure. To give an example, in one of my engagements with an organization, we are working to reduce the on-the-job injuries which happen. Now, an injury does not mean that you have a wound. An injury can be in many ways, like your long sitting posture can also can also result into an injury. For example, you have a backache, neckache, your hand or leg may become numb, and these days it's a very common issues during the pandemic time, and people have to spend longer working hours sitting or walking. They face a lot of these issues. So in one of my previous engagements, we had this issue where this organization was spending almost 20 million US dollar on just working on the injury part. Where this 20 million goes? People who take leave or unproductive hours, sick leaves, or you are giving remuneration when somebody is partially disabled or fully disabled. So that is a huge cost for the organization. They don't want the people to fall sick. I mean, there are different measures, but how can you make an environment safe for your employees, for your associates, that they do not face this issue of getting injured at the workplace? So one of the root causes that we identified was that employees complained about not having good seats or a good chair. Now, if I ask someone what is a good chair, what is a comfortable chair, so the customer's requirement or the VOC is, I want a comfortable chair that makes me feel good, and I can be relaxed and I can work on it for longer hours. But what is the meaning of a comfortable and a relaxing chair? There is no description here. That's what the customer says. So how do I measure this? How do I put this into perspective? So perspective here is, customer may be talking about the dimension of the chair. What should be the length, width, height of the chair? What should be the hand support? Should it be adjustable? What should be the declining angle of the chair? What should be the foam quality? If somebody whose weight is 100 kg is sitting on a chair, can the chair take in how many millimeters the foam will go in? And somebody whose weight is just 50 kg, what should be the foam quality? How many millimeters the foam will go in when somebody sits on it? So these are the dimensions. These are the things we are talking from the quality of the chair point of view. And if you put this perspective into one single word, it's called as ergonomic chair. So the word ergonomic directly deals with the quality of the chair. It talks about the health and the well-being. So where does ergonomic comes from? Ergonomics, nothing comes from the overall dimension that is measured, which actually leads to less injuries while you are sitting on a chair. So we gave it a name called ergonomic. But what we're actually trying to do is, we're trying to build a chair that can help support your spine, your hand and neck and everything, so that you don't get injured, and that company which was spending $20 million can actually save that money and put it somewhere where it is needed the most. So these are some of the examples of understanding customers' requirement and be able to put them into perspective, or be able to put them into numbers. That is what the most important is. Remember, the focus of Six Sigma is, if you can't measure, you can't improve. That's what Six Sigma simply says. Everything that you write or say in this Lean Six Sigma methodology, it needs to be measured, and needs to be measured in terms of the numbers. If you do not have numbers, try to quantify it as much as possible. Without a perspective, without a number, entire activity will be futile and will not reach anywhere. It's also like, you need to know where you are. If I do not know where am I right now in terms of my quality, I will not know where do I go. I will not know my goal. Similarly, it's very important in Lean Six Sigma. You know your current state, then only know your goal. So this is about understanding requirements, converting requirements into measurable requirements from the customer point of view. That's all we have for this session today. Thank you everyone. This is Shiven Sharma.